Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin Rugby Preview Show. And join me to look ahead to Leinster's URC quarterfinal as someone earning cap number 87. A warm welcome to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
How are we? The end of the season is coming close and quick and fast. So I'm sort of worried about what I'm going to be doing over the summer. But yeah, we're in the business end now.
Exactly. We can cross that when we come to it. Well, first, Keego, let's get your thoughts on Leinster's URC season overall. We've kind of gotten used to that top spot on the ladder in the last couple of years. You had a few defeats on the way. Saw us ending up third. What did you make of our campaign?
Yeah, it's you kind of, as we were going through it, you're kind of going, yes, we're getting bruised up, calloused up, and all that sort of stuff, which is good for us. But then when you look at the run in, the quarters, the semis, and the finals, without looking too far ahead, it's a very, very tough run in. So I'm kind of we finished third because of ourselves. Like I think that's something the guys need to take forward. There was a few games where we didn't really perform the way we should have, maybe thinking too far ahead, things like that. So I think the balance has got to be a mixture of we are here right now. We have to win by whatever score we can tonight, not worrying about next weekend. So I think it's always learning. Again, it's another season where other teams would kick their granny for. So I'm not massively worried. I just think this third place is all based on us throughout the season. And look, it's fair. It's a league format. You always end up where you're supposed to be in a league format.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if anything, it shows how strong the league is. I mean, when you look at the results, we lost the first game of the season against Glasgow. We've got a new coach coming in, and he wasn't even there yet, but we're getting used to a new system. We got beaten twice by Ulster, and then of course there's the annual a couple of defeats down in South Africa when we're sending a bit slightly weakened side down there. But when you leave that kind of a gap, other teams are going to take advantage. And Munster ended the season with a strong run, as did the Bulls, and they finished ahead of us. Ironically, we beat the two of them throughout the regular season, but that's just how it goes. You got to it's how you do, like you say, over the course of the 18 matches. Okay, so look, it's time now to look at our feature match of the week, which is, of course, Leinster v Ulster in the quarterfinal of the 2023-24 United Rugby Championship. It's taking place at the Aviva Stadium on Saturday, June the 8th, kicking off at 5 p.m. TV coverage in Ireland is on TG Car, Premier Sports, and URC.tv. And as ever, you can find the full listings for the weekend over at harpinonrugby.com. Just click the Rugby on TV tab. Leinster named their match day 23 at lunchtime on Friday. For watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen. Or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Keego's come up with a couple of points. First one being we've made our big team selection for this match.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no messing around or nuance or anything like that. And you can see the job that the guys have done throughout the season. So there's no one there who's on the fence. Everyone deserves their spot. A couple of players coming back from injury, one not yet, which we'll talk about, but delighted for Jamie Osborne, a massive season for him. And I think, what he's done, it's difficult for him because he steps in, shifts out Henshaw sometimes to 13. Henshaw then has that pressure of the Ringrose at 13 on top of him. Henshaw's blasted through this season. Sometimes, there's less camera on Ringrose this year, but he's doing a lot more work, and that's allowed Osborne to come in. Osborne's a big boy. You forget about it until you see him live, and he is really responding well in massive games. So, and they have a big job this weekend. The midfield and the second row, I feel, are again things that are going to be aimed at. But like it's a really strong selection. You know what I mean? I'm forgetting about the ghosts of a couple of weeks ago. I'm ready for this weekend now.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's the ghost of a couple of weeks ago that kind of defines this game in a way, because there's a lot of starters out there that were there in London, obviously, and they want to put that behind them. They want to make a strong statement that that they can get back out there and win a big knockout fixture, win a series of them. So obviously we're missing Hugo Keenan. He's gone off with the sevens. That's fine. That's a decision that was made a while ago. I think Jimmy O'Brien did very well in his place last week. He's already had a run at the 15 jersey, so he's doing well. But like all throughout that team, there's players that'll want to put in a good performance, and that center partnership, Osborne and Henshaw. I mean, whatever about other players coming back. I mean, they've been the two right through the knockout phases of Europe and this stage of the season. They've been our top two, and they've chopped and changed. They've swapped roles as well, so they present kind of different pictures to the opposition. So they've gotten into a bit of a groove there as well. So it's good to see. Okay, your second point is about someone who isn't there. We got some pretty strong hints on social media during the week, pictures and tweets and all sorts of things that they did everything but say Ringrose is going to be involved. I didn't think he'd start. I thought he might be on the bench. What did you make of it?
Yeah, as soon as Keego said, tell me Ringrose is starting without telling me Ringrose is starting, that was it. They said he's not starting. So, but it was a very Springbok-esque trick or mind game or whatever the word is. Razzie releases 30-minute videos. Nienaber maybe has a little hand in the marketing over the week because, as you say, Ringrose was middle above everything else, and we're all coming brilliant. Come at the hour, come at the Ringrose. And now he's not in. So a nice little bit of niggle between the ears for Ulster to deal with. But it's worrying. Like in the serious aspect of it, it's worrying. We do need that dynamism there. Even though the lads are doing great, that we've spoken about, every team on the planet would love to have Ringrose in it. And the longer we are without him, the more worry it is. So I hope he's all right. I hope we get to progress, and I hope he gets some game time in blue before the end of the year.
Absolutely, yeah, we definitely want him there. But like I say, if he's, maybe it's very possible they do the mind games because with the Nienaber and the Razzie and all those things that the little extra bits they do during the week to kind of throw the other team on what's going to happen. It's also possible that he's back from a serious injury. I think it was a shoulder. There could have been he could have had training, a little bit of a niggle, whatever. But they tend to keep the cards relatively close to the chest at Leinster Rugby on those kind of things. So maybe we won't know for sure until later. But listen, we do hope he's back as soon as possible. One more aspect of that selection is on the bench. It's interesting to see Sam Prendergast get the nod at 22 there. It's a massive vote of confidence for him. Considering that we've been talking for a lot of the past few weeks about the pecking order of 10s at Leinster. It's very clear that they see Ross Byrne as the number one there, and he's starting at 10. But who's backing him up? We would have thought it was Frawley. Maybe if Ringrose was going to play, we thought maybe Frawley would be 22 and Ringrose 23. But now Prendergast is in. Frawley's still involved, but that kind of is basically saying to him, "You're the third choice out half in our system." So I don't know how that's working out, but there's no question Frawley can come on. And if Prendergast and Frawley as 10 and 12, we saw a bit of that last week, and they worked very well. And Frawley can do a lot of the creative work as well. So Jimmy O'Brien can do a lot of that as well from full back as well. So we've got a lot of different kind of attacking options. So it's going to be interesting to see how we progress throughout the match.
Absolutely. Okay. Could I just say, sorry, one real quick thing on that? Like Frawley's always 23, and I think that's it's similar to Ross at 10. Frawley is 23, and it is, we can go back and forward on that. I think they're right on the 10 call. I think the job Prendergast did last week was really, really impressive. Very, very composed. Now, different atmosphere and game and all that. So they're picking on form, which is good. And I think it's a kick in the bum for the other out halves who are going for that spot as well. The only issue, I think Bernard Jackman said it during the week, all four of them are under contract. So it's a Leinster, you know what I mean? It's a weird decision. It's not like, someone is on a working their way through. They're all contracted players. So it's going to be an interesting thing on pitch and off pitch for them to make that decision.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot's been said about Frawley actually coming out and saying, "I want to play 10." But then again, he did sign a contract, so he knows what's going on. He's part of the setup, and he's heavily involved in it. And he certainly gives it his all when he's on the pitch, whatever number's on his back. So there's no doubt in that for sure. Okay, so now it's time to have a look at Ulster. They finished sixth in the URC, but they also did the double over Leinster. So whatever about our selection, they surely won't be coming down to Dublin to make up the numbers, Keego.
Not at all, and I think they're going to. I do love watching their 9 and 10. I do love Cooney. I think they fancy running a similar type of play, especially with Keenan not in the team. So they were waiting for us to kind of rush up, and they would dip over. Now it was a freakish game where everything worked for them. You know what I mean? So that doesn't happen all the time. So, but I do think they're going to go for it. Like they have a strong team, strong pack. Anytime anyone plays Leinster this year, it's a free shot. Their coach has said, Richie Murphy says, free shot. They can just throw everything at this game, and either their summer holidays start Sunday morning or their summer holidays move back a week. Like, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of pressure on this Ulster team. So that maybe allows them to be free to do things where we'll see more kicking out of them. But yeah, they're coming up ready to rock. And, you know, maybe the full Ravenhill Kingspan, whatever it's called, will transport itself up to the Aviva, fill it up and make some noise. That's where the Leinster support can't get jaded about trips to the Aviva, need to fill that thing up again.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's an interesting selection for them. I mean, we could say that those two defeats early in the season, they may not, one was at New Year's Day, I think, and the other was around the time of the Champions final and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, this is our full board team, so now we have a chance to prove that that was the case, that we can do it with our full strength team. The interesting selection I thought from them was, I thought that lad Isichukwu has been doing really well at 6 in recent weeks, but they have him in the second row for this match. But I mean, still they've options all throughout the team. They've those out half, scrum half. They've got they can attack from everywhere really. And we'll just see how they stack up. They'll need a good start, I'd say. But if they do, if the score is close coming into the 40th, 50th minute, that kind of stage of the match, they'll really fancy themselves to bring it home. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so now it's time for a quick look at the officials. I would have thought they'd have gone for a neutral ref, not neutral country ref for a quarterfinal, but they've got Andrew Brace holding the whistle there. Craig Evans is his assistant, and then there's the rest are Irish. The weather for Ballsbridge looks like it's going to behave on Saturday evening. It just says becoming cloudy, little or no wind, little or no rain. That's everything we want. So now we're just going to have a quick look at the other quarterfinals. Now, the winner of the match at the Aviva will play the winner of Benetton v Bulls in the semifinals. And the last match of the weekend will be at Scottstown, where Glasgow Warriors will host Stormers. I think that's the toughest to call of all the 4 matches, but we'll see. But Keego, listen, our tradition being what it is, I have to ask you mostly about Munster's quarterfinal. We're recording on Friday. They're playing tonight against the Ospreys, who snuck into the playoffs in the last round. How do you see it going?
Listen, I'll say this up front. I want to play Munster in knockout rugby. That's what we want. So all the banter in the season up to this point is going to continue. But make no mistake, we want to play Munster, whether it's in Thomond Park, where we roll down there and take them on in the stands on the pitch, or they're coming up to the capital of Ireland into the proper stadium in the Aviva, or maybe even Croke Park. Which they can't fill by themselves, then we welcome that. That's what we want. And Munster, to be fair, are on a run. And I was just scribbling down some stuff while pretending to work a few minutes ago. If my boss is watching that, this is pre-recorded. The second row and the back row that Munster have now are bridging that gap. And to be fair, they're certainly the second row are probably the envy of the league. They're really operating very, very well. Obviously, Snyman on a run now of health, which will be great for next season when he's playing real rugby. And so we're going to, but I do think it's theirs. I think the only way they're going to lose it is if they can't rely on that emotion thing, because emotion is going to wear off. They need to be forensic in every single approach. I think they have it in them. I think they're going to win. But if they get too overthinking, because we all know Munster people can't overthink, then they may lose to Ospreys, which would be a massive disappointment this year. But they have it in them.
Yeah, and you won't be taking your Ospreys jersey out of the wardrobe just for today anyway. You'll be back in Munster. No, you're right. We do want to play them very again. Yeah. The only way that's going to be is in the final. So we hopefully we can both get there and make it a big final. Now the funny thing about that is that I've been following the odds on the bookies all week, and they still got Leinster favorites. I mean, it's like I don't mind that, and I want us to be able to play under that kind of pressure. But the form book doesn't really. I mean, I know we haven't. Maybe they'll say we haven't been playing our strongest team recent week, but Munster have been, and they've got a consistent run week in, week out, playing their strongest team. They're on a run. They've on a winning run. They're the reigning champions, even on top of that, and they finished first in the log. I mean, it's like I would have thought they should be favorites, but they'll fancy themselves against the Ospreys tonight anyway. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so listen, let's get a head on the block now for our match at the Aviva. How do you see it going?
It's a Leinster win. I do think there's too much there. I do think there's an anger, tenacity, all that sort of stuff is back in the team, and I think it's going to be a relatively big win. I think it's like 10 points. And I think a message will be sent, and no one's going to want to see us for the rest of this tournament.
That's definitely. I mean, what I think what Leinster fans are looking for most of all is a reaction, because they'll know how we're. I mean, we know they're hurting after London, but they'll know we will be as well after what happened. So this is their chance to get out there and show a bit of fight and show what they're doing. Obviously, Ulster are going to come down here. They're going to fancy their chances. They'll have a plan to get around us, and it has worked before. But hopefully, we'll have enough to keep them at bay. Okay, listen, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us. What stand-up gigs do you have coming up?
We're starting the run in now up to the big shows during the summer. So next Tuesday I'm in town, and next Wednesday 2 gigs in town next week. So all on KeegoLaughs.com.
Brilliant stuff. You'll find all those links, of course, in the program notes. Well, listen, Keego, thanks a million. Hope to have you on again soon.
Absolutely. Happy Leaving Cert week.
Indeed. And many thanks to you all for checking out our latest preview show. And if you can also tune into Dublin South 93.9 FM around 5 p.m. on Friday for our Harpin Rugby segment, then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are. You can follow us on all the usual social media channels. And we will, of course, have a wrap pod for you this week, recording on Sunday evening. Hopefully, you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone.